Today what I propose is I'll review the solution we have deployed for Schneider Electric. We'll share results with you and show a demo of the solution. A PowerPoint presentation is the exact presentation we delivered at Salesforce and Dreamforce back in October together with Schneider Electric. Where participating to that presentation, Rémi Pougeot from Schneider Electric is leading innovation for CRM. And then the whole project management members around the project were at that show. So let's start with the presentation that Rémi held. So what was the context of Schneider Electric at that moment? So first of all, Schneider Electric is a massive Salesforce deployment with 30,000 users, including 2,500 customer care agents across 100 countries. And the issue is that those people, although using Salesforce as their main application, need on a day-to-day basis to access information that are not within Salesforce. So ERP, enterprise content management, email application, some custom applications as product catalog, product quotes, and some also internet logs, especially regarding navigation or requests for customers. And so the main challenge for Rémi was to say, how can you give us a way to have a single access point to information and knowledge, whichever the format, location, or application? This was the first request. And then from there, we converted that into saying that, Rémi, on top of accessing information, what we could do together with you would be not only to converge all data and knowledge into CRM, but also to show you how by enriching the information, cross-fertilizing information, we can also help you to be more efficient on your customer care journey. And so what we defined with them was how to empower customer care agents to maximize customer lifetime value. So this means how to turn the customer care center into a profit center. And so what we defined together with them was there was 5 phases that we needed to address. The first would be the welcome phase, meaning how can you help us ease contact identification, as about 30% of incoming calls originate from customers we don't know. The second thing was, if we don't know them, how can you ease contact entry within the system? And last, can you help us solving the fact that when we search within Salesforce today, the relevancy of answers are not always obvious, and we need you to help us, in fact, find the right contact more effectively. The second path is, once we have identified the customer, how can you help us display contextual insights about the customer? So typically, if a customer calls, what may be the reason for the call? The second thing is 40% of cases originate from email. Could you help us also try to transform those emails into a pre-configured case, meaning that we read semantically the email and we classify information and try to suggest resolution if we find one. The third element is the customer calls for something I'm not aware of. You want a product price, you want a document, you want to find an expert. How can you help us spinning up that process so that in split seconds I can give the right answer to the customer? The fourth thing was, how then can you enable us to automatically fill the case to keep a more accurate and better memory of the interaction I had with customers? And last, as the customer is satisfied because I answered the question very quickly, how you can help us suggest upsell, cross-sell recommendation so that we turn the customer agent into an inside sales agent to generate more revenue. So the way we answered to this is, in fact, we have a platform that enables to connect to information and converge information into a learning machine that we call learning matrix. And then what we do with that data is we cross-fertilize the different silos from ERP to CRM to email, but we also cross-fertilize knowledge so that we can send and recommend the right actions to the user in the context of interaction. So we call that process end-to-end action delivery. So then, not to be technical, but just to try to show you how we do. So we have on the left side of the screen connectors to a large variety of applications, from CRM to ERPs to internet to information providers to some BI or data mart data, as well as Internet of Things, meaning sensors located at customer place that might send signals in case of trouble or issue. We converge that all data into a staging layer, and that staging layer is used to perform a large variety of enrichments. But let's say that is the most important there. It's real-time, asynchronous, and massively scalable, meaning that in the context of Schneider Electric, we did integrate close to 80 million objects to deliver the use cases I'm going to show you. And by doing that semantic enrichment and also enabling to understand the business jargon from Schneider, we have been able to deliver contextual insights to the users inside Salesforce. And there are three ways I'm going to demonstrate you people use it. The first way is federated search, meaning ability to search across all applications from one single point, Salesforce. The second way is to create a 360-degree view around the customer to show only what matters about the customer, but everything that matters, whichever the application again. And the last is to calculate action alerts, meaning accurate recommendations that we suggest to the user to solve more efficiently the customer interaction. All of our offering leverages state-of-the-art open source initiatives as Apache Solar, Lucene, and Hadoop. And you know, those technologies are today state-of-the-art, as for example, recently Amazon.com converted their e-commerce search capabilities to Solar. So the intention now to me is to drive you through the demonstration that we did for Schneider. So let's start then the demo. I'm Jean Dujardin, and I'm a customer care representative at Schneider Electric. So the morning when I join, I connect to the Salesforce.com application, and the home page that has been conceived is to show me what matters today, what is important. On the right side of the panel, we integrated different sources as information built in, the last FAQ published regarding my customers or the products I manage, some product return campaign information, some company news. So any kind of feed relevant to me as Jean Dujardin and to my customers as being assigned to me. Then the second thing that we have been asked for is to show hot issues. So here the challenge is, you know, the diversity in which a case can be described. And so the challenge was to cluster the different cases into meaningful clusters. So Advantage Fire Protection, Entelion, Schneider Electric, all those elements are originated from different spellings, but are clustered into one so that it's much more consistent and readable by the user. So here what we show is we show which are the emerging issues, new, meaning that these are, in the last month, issues that are increasingly important. And then without the new, it's issues that in last year have been raising more frequently. We did that for topics, and we did that for products, and then we filtered topics and products according to the customers that are assigned to Jean Dujardin. And last element on the left is what we call action alerts. So what an action alert is a recommendation sent to the user, and for Schneider Electric, we selected to have 3 kinds of action alerts. The first is regarding sales, threats, or opportunities. So for example, we detected that the tender is awaiting customer agreement, or we have a price conflict as we delivered the price 2 weeks ago and a new promotion on a product gives a lower price, so we should probably anticipate that to the customer. Or we have a price conflict between the customer pricing and the actual pricing of one order, and also we have an upsell potential on limit switches, for example. So these are sales opportunities detected from the data we integrated. The second thing is about risk. So here we received a financial risk alert from Dun & Bradstreet, for example. We have a logistic issue and a workaround for it. We have a logistic delay and remote alarms from sensors located at customer places that trigger an alarm to me. And the third and last categories, we call it case solver. And these are cases to which we found an accelerated way to solve the case. On the right side of the screen, you see a bar. That bar is called action rank. Action rank is for us a way to prioritize action alerts, meaning that we calculate the business impact depending on the importance of the customer or the financial challenge if we have it, but also it's ponderated by the certainty we have that the prediction we made is strong. So here, the most relevant case to be analyzed is a documentation request from Acme to Schneider Electric. So, as I told you, 40% of cases originate from email, so altogether several million emails per year. So what we did here is the email is integrated in Salesforce, so I can define the contact and account name from the sender, but then it's text. And so the challenge has been within the text to try to correlate that email to the different taxonomy classification criteria used by Schneider. So the first thing we detected is that number here, 33525, is a product. But at the same time, 9555 is also a product. So it's really semantic analysis in context that 33525 is a product and 9555 in this context is not a product. So we detected that the product is this one. From the product, we analyze the text and find out that the concepts within the text relate to temperature ratings and heavy duty, that is a range from Schneider Electric. From this, it is a product, it is a technical issue. We suggested that it's probably a documentation request and gave the highest priority to this one, so this is why it's tick marked. Knowing that it's a documentation request, we guess that a technical document will be probably the most suitable to solve the case. And as we know the product, the issue, and it is a technical document, we triggered the relevant documents automatically from the system. And as we saw that Jane Jackson is located in the US, we gave the English user manual of the product. So this, in fact, shows our semantic capability to automatically understand and trigger resolution based on text. So as I'm a new guy within the company, I just need to make sure that I have the right answer. And so then I click on the product. And so what we did for Schneider is we created a 360-degree view around the product. Just to mention, that view is generated across 7 different applications and ERPs. And so in fact, we have selected as first box the one with documentation about the product, because the case I come from was a documentation request. So you see what context means here. Then we have some data like, well, which are the cases currently open at this customer, which are the case support categories on the product, what is the trend of cases on the product, do we have similar or same range products, and so on. And at the same time, I retrieved some general information about the product, also disseminated in various applications, as the public price, delivery time, commercial reference, and so on. And let's define, for example, that I want to know on that product if there are alternatives in terms of 3 poles or 4 poles. And then again, I can filter and see alternative products on the one characteristic I clicked on. But this was a digression from the case I tried to handle. So in fact, I reviewed very quickly what the system is proposing, and I'm going to say, okay, this solved the case. So I'm going to click on Update Case. And what happens here is we automatically fill all missing fields from the customer, including an email that we generate automatically by sending the technical document to Ms. Jackson, and I could also edit the case and fill some additional information into it. So at the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the case, and then what is important to understand, the benefit of it is you know that most customer care agents are on the rush, meaning there are probably 50 people waiting for Ms. availability, and so do most of customer care agents have time enough to fill up a case? I'm not sure. Where here, it's exhaustive, complete, and can then be used down the line, as you will see, to learn and detect best practice for other users. So this was a general case where I didn't have an incoming call, so I was trying to solve some cases from recommendations built. So now the phone rings and the customer is calling me. So then what we did for Schneider is we detect the caller ID from the CTI, and then here what happens is that phone number has not been detected into Salesforce. So what we did is we linked to the system a yellow, white, and mobile phone directory so that we can find who's calling if we don't detect it in Salesforce. And so here I see the guy calling you is William Mitchell. And automatically the system, from the name of the person, tries to find matches that you see under the fuzzy and phonetic suggestion from Salesforce. And so then I can say, hello Bill, you call me from a different number than usually. Yes. May I update your phone number? Yes, you can. Are you from Acme? Yes, I am. And so how do we detect that? We said that William and Bill are the same with a dictionary of first names. We also saw that he's located in San Francisco and Acme is located in San Francisco, but we prioritized the town here to the name of the company there. So in fact, what we do here is really do fuzzy, phonetic, and some rule matching so that we get the best suggestion depending on the caller. And if we were to compare what we show here to what they could have found without that prediction, these are all contacts that could have matched the query from the phone number and name. So now that I have identified that Bill Mitchell is calling me, I'm going to go to his profile. And by the way, if there was an exact match on the profile from the CTI, we will have jumped directly to this page. So here, what I can see is that I am on Bill Mitchell, some information about Acme, And then on the right side, so the right side is what we integrate into the console of Salesforce. I see the action alerts relating to the customer, some customer profile like digital experience and buying profile of the customer, some KPIs as that customer is in the first third of the revenue and on the higher side of solicitation, some nearby site, distributors nearby the customers, open orders, open invoices. I focus here that that information is not currently into Salesforce. This is why we showcase it. And so as I'm speaking with Bill, he's going to tell me, okay, I'm interested in having information about product. And so then I open what we call a wizard that is in fact an interface, a GUI, dedicated to solve a specific problem. So you can have many. Here it's a wizard enabling to effectively search for a product. And so let's define that I'm looking for a remote reset. So imagine that within Schneider Electric, the database of projects is over 1 million products across 200 lines, across 20 business units. So then, the ability from one user to control and have a knowledge exhaustive on all products is not doable. And so they have lots of difficulties today to navigate in the hierarchy of product and find. So here, I know that there are 2 product ranges for that kind of product. So which one do you want, Bill? I want the master pack. Okay. And then which voltage? 100 to 200? 100. And then I filter on the 3 products that are good for the customer, and I'm going to ask, Ian, how much would you like of the 101? I want 5. And how much of the second one? I want 5. So then I can send a price request that is, again, a different application, that is the pricing application. And once I'm done, I can ask to update the case. And now, as you can see, the whole case has been automatically filled up with all characteristics. We have the question, and we have detailed answers, including every parameter sent to the customer, meaning the exact price, the delivery time, and everything. So again, would a customer care agent have the ability to enter all that manually is a question, but what we did here can serve further best practice and increase knowledge. So now that I really finalized the case for Bill, I say, okay, Bill, are you satisfied with our interaction? Yes, you've been damn quick. Would you have 3 minutes for me, Bill? Because I noticed that you have interest on HVAC control products. How do I know that? Because I compared the digital experience of that customer, where HVAC control has been really a page they've been looking at. And if I compare that to the buying structure, I see that this is a product range they didn't bought yet. So this is why I recommend to Jean Dujardin to engage the customer on that specific line of product. So this is a kind of case where, in fact, we've shown the whole journey from welcome, understand, answer, and close, and also upsell. So last but not least, what I'd like to show you is how federated search can really help users leveraging their whole information system. So first of all, to show you, I was telling you that we integrated a lot of applications. You see that we have here 17 different objects integrated for over 10 different applications. So let me show you what is peculiar about integrating BI and information together. Let's define that today I need to see on which accounts I need to concentrate. Our system enables to calculate upsell potential on web customer and satisfaction based on the opinion expressed in emails, chat, and also through a customer survey application called Monkey Survey. So here I would like to focus on customers that have a low level of satisfaction and also a high level of upsell. And I'd like to focus today on the finance industry. So then on 3 clicks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each of the customers listed here that have a low satisfaction. And why those? Because by solving this, I can also access to upsell potential. So this is really beneficial to the customer and the company from a revenue standpoint. So the second thing I'd like to show you is I think you clearly understand the complexity of a company dealing with millions of products, hundreds of thousands of FAQs. You see we have 900 open cases, 900,000 open cases. And so how to help a user clearly finding an FAQ, for example. So I'd like pressure, and you see here the power of instant search and instant recommendation. So I want effectively pressure sensors. I'm back to 621 results, far too much. And it was a kind of, airflow, pressure sensors airflow. And here is the FAQ I was looking for, all this in 4 clicks. Today, without that kind of tool that leverages semantic, the taxonomy from products, some classification of concepts around FAQs and cases, accessing that single information will have taken much more time. So what I want to show you now is the kind of benefits Schneider Electric deducted from what we did. So we went through the different phases: welcome, understand, answer, close, and sell. And in fact, the outcome of managing these the way I showed it to you is this. I think the outcome for Schneider today is it further increased the customer care efficiency. And the thing is that those productivity gains are not the aim. The aim is to free up inside sales capability. So as an example, we have noticed that it's 6 times faster for unregistered customer identification. And the second thing we found out is by leveraging customer satisfaction, we leverage a window to do up and cross-sell identification and enablement. And today, well, I haven't any idea of that. I just can tell you that the improvement on upsell and cross-sell identification has been important, meaning that we could say today that we identify 10 times more opportunities than before. So now it's time, I think, for QA, and I'd like you, Ina, if you don't mind, to tell me whether there has been some questions I could answer right now.
Sure, Joel. Thank you very much for that. There's actually 3 questions. 2 I will combine, but we'll start with this one. Can you tell how you address security integrating all applications?
Yeah, so security is something really important. As you understand, we collect information from a variety of sources, so about 10 altogether. Each application has a security layer. So in fact, what we do each time we grab information into the system, we take together with the field or the document or whatever information, the access control list that goes with it. So in fact, what we can guarantee is that each time the security is updated in the source system, we replicate it into each information that is linked to it, so that we can assess at the end that no information the user would not have access on the source system will be accessible through our application. So synchronizing security is something that may appear simple, but that is business critical for many, many of our customers, and our connector framework does that effectively.
Great, thank you. And there was 2 questions that I will combine into one. What does the typical deployment look like, and how long does it take?
So to me, a technical deployment, in fact, the way we operated with Schneider, because we are on that use case, is the first thing we did is a quick demonstrator using files dumped from each system. And so within less than a month, we showed a first kind of pilot on all the data and showing the kind of predictive enrichments, semantic enrichments we could do for Schneider. So once this has been validated by users and from a perspective ROI standpoint, we then moved to a pilot. So to get what has been showcased here, the pilot took about 2 months to integrate everything and do the first training on semantic, predictive, and so technologies. So let's say that for a typical project, depending on the number of source integrators, the first pilot in production with a certain amount of users will be in the range of 1 to 3 months for very complex projects. And then how? Typically, a Schneider organization is a very large organization, as I told you, across 100 countries and many business units. So what we do is we have certified partners, and I see in the attendance some of our partners are attending the meeting as well. And so those partners have the ability, in fact, to operate the project from the beginning to the end. And in that case, we act as an expertise layer to our partners and the project in general. So our partners can handle the project, and as we are an ISV, meaning that we are a software publisher, we rely on certified partners to deploy projects. Did I answer the question?
I think so.
There is one question I can see we have not answered to. May I answer to it?
Of course, go ahead.
So how do you manage customer profile when a person moves to another company? Do you destroy the first profile to create the new one? So in fact, what we need to understand, and we sit on existing data, meaning that in the source application, you destroy the contact, what I would be likely to say, don't do it. We will detect that the contact has been suppressed, and then we will suppress the contact in our application. If the contact is changed, we update the contact. If the contact is added, we add the contact. What has to be clear is we do not interfere with the source applications that are, I would say, the main application for managing contacts. We just access them, grab contacts so that they can be accessed across applications. So I hope I answer your question.
I think we're all set now. I don't see any other questions.
Okay.
And I'm glad you noticed this one. To every attendee, thank you very much for joining. Gilles is going to be able to answer our questions offline if anybody has any. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Gilles, for your presentation.
Thank you very much to everyone for your attendance. Bye.
Have a nice day. Thank you.